So they gotta go. Is it all happening, Michael?
Yeah.
Excellent. Hey everyone. Welcome to That Pedal Show, viewers, comments and questions, where we are getting ready for the Andy Timmins gigs. Andy just texted me, he's getting on the plane. It's all happening.
Oh my god.
It is actually all happening. I better learn those tunes. Yes, so hey everyone, I hope you're awesome.
Welcome to our regular viewers. Welcome. Thank you for coming back. It's confusing, but thank you anyway.
Indeed.
And to those of you who may be new, well, it's only going to get more confusing. That's going to do my head in.
Oh, what have I done?
No, you haven't done anything.
Okay.
It's the drums ringing.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
Anyway, this is our regular Monday shambolic viewers' comments and questions. Shambles.
It's more shambolic because you see us in the middle of set up for rehearsal. Oh yeah, I can hear it. I think you're just going to have to... I think it's going to be tough to get rid of all that.
It's all right. Got rid of some of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything's set up here for rehearsal. We had our first rehearsal for these gigs last week, and it was fun.
It was fun. Those of you who might be able to get to the middle of England, well, I say the middle south of England, on Sunday night, there are a few tickets left for Whitney on Sunday night. Everything else is sold out, but there are a few tickets left. Go to thatpedalshowstore.com and you can buy tickets to see That Pedal Show Band and Andy Timmins with That Pedal Show Band.
Yes, we had someone email today to say, is Andy playing for the full 3 hours or do I need to sit through the TPS band? The answer is yes. You'll need to sit through Mick and myself. However, the band is flippin' fantastic.
The band's fantastic.
Oh my goodness.
Dan and I have got some work to do, but the band is fantastic.
Yeah, they're kicking our butts.
Anyway, let's say hello to BV Ninja. BV,
Hey, BV.
Thank you as always for doing this. BV is moderating in the chat, as he does every week, for which we are eternally grateful. Thank you.
Indeed.
We'll say hello to Ranzer. We'll say hello to Swizz871. Oh, here we go. Text is going off already.
It's all happening.
Yeah. Maybe we've got a click track on, Dan.
I don't think we do. I think BV was just making sure that we were recording the podcast.
We are.
Yes,
I'm in a mode of remembering that now. And he's given us a little nudge about the super chats, which are mounting up already.
Boy, oh boy.
We do kind of need to be finished more or less on time tonight.
We do.
Not least for the impending frightening preparation that still needs to be done.
Sure.
Okay. Welcome, everyone.
Who we got on then?
Whit Anderson.
Axel Kipp. Hello, you guys. Hey, Axel.
Julian Crochet.
Kay Cole. Hello from Nova Scotia. Where's that?
Nova Scotia, Canada.
Okay, nice. Grayson Shizler says, hey guys, you're the best. Thank you so much. No, you're the best, Grayson. Steve Roberts, g'day from Brisbane, Australia. That's my old
Dan's hometown.
stomping ground. My
Here
hometown.
comes Catherine to tell us what's going wrong.
Got to give you those.
Oh, very good. Very good. Thomas Shellac, greetings from Nashville. I'm sure I didn't say that correctly, but thank you, mate. We hope to get there sooner rather than later.
It's a nice lacquer.
It's a lovely lacquer. My Kincaid acoustic is shellac.
It is
French
rare.
polish.
Rare it is too. BV is reminding everyone that I'm on with Mark at home with Mark tomorrow.
Lovely.
With Mark Hopkins. So
yeah, lovely.
BV's put a link to the chat in there. Let's see who else we got on. Wes Chilton, Bob Morris, Alexander Hadich,
Jules Diacogiannis. Hello to everyone.
Tony
Lovely.
London, Luis Enrique Machado, Justin Baylog's on. Loads of people on, lots of old friends. Thank you for being here. So,
Sorry, just got a text from Jessie from Lazy J. Hello, Jessie.
nice.
Lovely.
Okay, housekeeping. Congratulations to Rune in Norway. Hello, Rune, who won the JHS Bonsai pedal in this month's giveaway. It will
Lovely.
it will be shipped out this week. So if you're an active patron at the time we make the giveaway live, you will get an email. Next month's giveaway, not quite sure what it is yet. It'll be something cool in pedal format. So that's open to patrons only. Andy Timmons gig update. Oh, actually, apparently 2 people have cancelled for Saturday night, so there are 2 tickets for Saturday night left in Whitney. Best wishes to Gaz, who is unwell and can't come.
Oh, heavens.
Sorry, really sorry to hear that, Gaz. Yes, and as we said, there's a few left for Sunday night, so if you fancy a nice night out with loads of loud guitars that sound completely awesome, turn up just before Andy Timmons goes on. Wait. Good. Right, housekeeping done. Oh, Dan.
Indeed.
Did you have a tolerable weekend, Daniel?
Yeah, just running the tunes. After the absolute scorcher on Friday, I thought, yes, it's going to be an amazing hot weekend. Got the shorts out, got the barbecue primed. Rubbish. Computer says no.
Yeah.
The system is down.
Yeah. And of course, the BBC were so on it with the weather over the weekend, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, there we go. But no, it was nice. How about you?
Yeah, mostly panicking about the gig.
Good to see we're in the same boat.
Ranzer is first in this week. Hello, Ran.
G'day, mate.
Always good to hear from you. He says D and M and B. B's
D
on
and
the
M and
team.
B.
B's on the team. He says, have a great time with Andy. Wish I could be in the UK and attend. As they say, break a whatever you're the end of. Very good. Very good.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a massive week. So we've got, I pick up Andy tomorrow afternoon from the airport. He's going to come back, crash at mine. Then we get up in the morning, come here to get his rig sorted out, rehearsal on the Wednesday through to whenever it's done. And then first gig on the Thursday, experience day on the Friday, gig on the Saturday, gig on the Sunday, come in here and film with Andy on the Monday, possibly Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, if we could make it Tuesday, that'd be
good.
That would be great.
Sure.
I'm not going to be worth much on Monday, I don't think. Yeah, big week. DS Randlet. Hello, DS. He says, I play a lot of solo jazz on a G&L ASAT through a Blues Cube stage. Any thoughts on tremolo and reverb options? I'm looking at Mr. Moto by J-Rad.
Oh, they're great.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really wonderful. There's the Strymon Flint is also lovely, but for a really simple, hit and go, you're going to really struggle to go past Mr. Moto. It's so good.
So, pluses and minuses of those 2 pedals. J-Rad, Mr. Moto, 1 tremolo type, 1 reverb type. I think the wave might be variable in the trem. Can't see it. 1 reverb algorithm, very simple, nice sounding reverb. I think it's out of the Boing or very similar. The Strymon Flint has multiple reverb and tremolo modes.
Yeah.
So if you want to get more tweaky with it and go for some specific sounds, then there's more in the Flint. In addition to that, you can switch the order of the reverb and tremolo in the Flint, which is quite a big deal because people
really good.
tend to prefer it one way or the other.
Yeah, and you do have a favourite preset on the Flint as well. As a matter of fact, Strymon have released some new versions of those pedals with TRS MIDI.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, so that will be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm getting messages from BV to say if we want to finish on time, we need to turn off the super chats because there are loads.
Okay. So we would say the simple option, the Mr. Moto is great. Small, compact, sounds phenomenal.
Really does.
Yeah.
But if you want to disappear more down that rubber hole, then
The Flint.
the
is a good
Flint's a
option.
really great option.
Okay, I'm going to turn the super chats off. Those of you who have super chatted, thank you. We will answer you. Please, no more super chats now. So there we go. I understand the implications of this action.
Do you though? Excellent. Oh, Greg Hadfield comes in with the Keeley Hydra. Yes, great shout. The Keeley Hydra does sound fantastic as well. It's the same format footprint as the new Halo, the Andy Timmons Halo that was released, I want to say last week or the week before. But we will be doing some filming with Andy and the Halo, so you guys will get to see it, what it's actually really sounds like. Because we've got a couple of his Lone Stars. We'll get it mic'd up and yeah, it'll be wicked.
Okay, well, I've just been kicked out of YouTube,
Oh heavens.
so I can't turn the super chats off. Although I think I did turn the super chats off. Entertain the people while I try and sort this out, please.
Right, so what are some other options? Someone has said yes, the Keeley Verbatram. Yeah, I haven't heard the Verbatram for a while. That was great.
Oh, I've actually got one of those.
Yeah, I remember them. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of them. The idea behind a tremolo and verb in one pedal, if you think about your amp that's got verb and trem in, it's basically replicating what's going on in the amp. So sticking that at the end of your chain, it can be a really great idea. Let's see. Chris Smith says, got my Halo on Saturday, but haven't had a chance to plug it in yet. So I got ours last week, and I did plug it in, and it does sound flippin' amazing. Anyone who knows Andy Timmons knows that he's got bat ears. The stuff that he can pick out in guitar sound or a mix or anything is just absolutely remarkable. And I do know that working with Andy, Robert said, wow, what that has enabled them to do now, like after working with Andy, the stuff that he can hear has sort of really forced them to dig deep, and what they've come up with is just remarkable. So I love that. I love when great engineers work with great players and come up with something awesome. It's really lovely. Yeah. Let's see. Chad Tuppett says, a few weeks ago I asked whether Dan found his new electric mistress, and the moderator BV suggested the past effects elastic mattress, and it's amazing. Very good. Oh, glad you like that. Yeah, the past effects stuff is really good, really, really good. I'm still loving my Thorhy camouflage. It's really wonderful. Zoot Alua says new shirts, awesome. Yeah, so check them out.
Yep, new shirts. We've done we've decided that there's a war on playing loud, and we need to do something about it.
We do.
We started a campaign, and there's a couple of t-shirts. There'll be more, and we just want to remind everyone that playing loud is what rock and roll is all about.
Indeed,
and you
it's
should,
okay,
and you should do it, please. I'm never going to stop. After we were in here the other day, guitar rigs blasting, keys, drums, bass, just moves the soul.
It really does.
It moves the soul. And imagine adding Andy Timmons to that list. Okay, back in the room. Ranzer, Mick. Mick, since it's already a refin, would you ever consider refinishing the 61 into what colour? Gold or Sonic Blue would suit you. No, it's been very nicely done, and to be honest, I'd probably want a Sunburst one anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Even though they were the most common, to me it's the icon. Custom colours are brilliant and I love them, but I'm happy with that guitar as it is and where it's got to in its life. I did think about having it relicked because it is very new looking.
When was it done?
3 or 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago maybe.
Wow, okay.
But I'm not going to do that either. So I'm just debating whether to use it for the gigs this week because I find the nut is so bad. It's really, really hard to play now. So I may not be able to use it, but there we are, which is really annoying. And I can't get it done in time. So, but I might do it anyway. Yeah.
Bit of super glue. Bit of.
And he says, "Don't strike me down with lightning. It's just a fun thought experiment." I know it's perfect as it is. Yeah, no, I think it's a relevant question about refins, isn't it? I like the Sunburst. I do like the Sunburst.
What was it about Sunburst that you liked? Because I've never liked the Sunburst thing.
Sunburst's always been my favourite
Really?
guitar finish of all of them.
Who was it? What guitar did you first see with Sunburst? And that's the one.
Well, Stevie Ray,
Oh, okay.
number one. Although not that you could see much of the Sunburst.
Right.
Blackie maybe. Oh, Blackie. Brownie. Blackie's the black Strat. Brownie's the Sunburst one. Eric Clapton's Layla Strat. Yeah, I just like Sunburst. I like Sunburst 335s, even though I've got a natural one. I like Sunburst acoustics. I just like Sunburst.
Yeah,
but I also like gold. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you got a couple of gold ones.
Yeah, and all the classic Fender colours, to be fair. I love them all.
Yeah.
Swizz871. Hey, gents, I'm getting ready to start playing live, but I have so many genres to cover. Should I make one giant board and have everything in one place, or have two small ones and occasionally try and rig them together? Thank you, Swizz871.
So it's a really interesting thing, right?
Great question.
Great question. So it depends on if it's your gig that you do all the time and you need to have all these sounds for your constant gig, or your recurring gig, then getting them all on one board is great. But if it's like, okay, what I want is I'm going to have my drive sections in a really simple thing, so I can just grab a smaller board and go out and play with that one, and then grab the secondary board for the bigger gig. That's what I used to do. So in Tin Spirits, I used to have to use a lot of fuzzers, but my normal gig, I wouldn't. So I had my fuzz board, which was basically triggered by two remote loopy twos, and I just have that separate.
Yeah.
And then I'd plug it in when I needed to plug it in. So, the two board thing can be fantastic.
Yeah, it's a well-timed question. So when we went to see Neil Finn last Tuesday to make that video that went out last Friday, both Neil and Liam had two boards each, which was as much about ergonomics stage-wise as it was practicality in terms of what goes on what, because of where their mic stands are. Because they're both singing all the time. The problem I'm having currently is my board is so deep and it's got so much stuff on it. I've got to have it I have to, from a sort of I want to say OCD. I'm not OCD, but I am really weird. Like if my amp is facing that way, my pedal board has to be in line with my amp.
Really?
I can't. Having stuff on the wonk drives me crazy. Like, I was going nuts in here the other night when you were Dan's pedal there, and his pedal board's facing over there somewhere.
Yeah, because I can be forward and I just tap things with my right foot. That's
yeah,
great.
well, I can't figure doing that and looking at the audience.
Right.
But equally, I agree that it's just as hard to look straight down. Anyway, the point being, if you're dealing with mic stand placement, then having two boards can be really, really good, because you can have one on your left foot and one on your right foot. So maybe that's something worth thinking about too. And I'm looking at my board, already annoyed at how big it is, but I pared it down as much as possible.
Yeah.
And it's still too blooming big. So
It does sound amazing though.
it does sound good. Yeah, it's really good. Here you go. I'll show it to you. Dan will show you his in a minute.
Oh, I thought you had some clever camera hooked up so we could just do a flyby, but no, actually what we're going to do is lift.
No, it's manual, mate.
Yeah, very good.
Completely manual.
Very good.
Oh, God, still plugged in. Right, here's my board for the Andy Timmons gigs.
We will go through these because there's some really interesting sounds going on. Look at that. It's gorgeous.
And then, don't look under here. So yeah.
Very lovely. Very lovely.
I'm literally using every single thing on there, plus this. Wow. So it's annoying. Really annoying.
I like it.
Yeah, I do. It's just too big. It's too much hassle with the mic stand.
Yeah, but you use a boom mic.
Yeah,
It just goes over.
it does.
So I like
But
a
then the angle of the boom mic.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to have a really good boom, because I tend to put my lips on the mic. If the angle of the boom is wonky, then the mic just goes away from you.
Okay.
And of course, if it's boomed right into you, it shouldn't be too bad for these gigs because there's stages, but kind of gigs I normally play, there aren't any stages. So she, with the 20 millilitres of warm wine left, who insists on dancing out of time to every song you play, but she's having a great time.
Right.
It's always her that knocks my front teeth out.
That's why I use a straight stand. I have
Because
to
of
use
the
a
boom.
straight stand.
I
'Cause
couldn't-
The boom is, I've split my lip. I've chipped teeth and stuff from having people.
But when
run
you
to a
do
boom.
that, you just knock the flipping mic stand over.
No, I've just gotten used to it. I've got the straight stand in front of me, pedal board on the right, and then I can just move to the left if I need to. It works great.
Well, in the interests of experimentation, I'm willing to try it, Dan.
All right.
You don't even have a gooseneck on the stand?
No,
I couldn't get close enough to it.
it's just my horrific posture.
I'd be doing slide up and down the mic stand.
Yeah, I do. It's great fun.
Peg. Anyway, yeah, we say two boards, Swizz. I say two boards because I think if you think about your sort of general effects order, most of us have got overdrives and things first and flowery things after, so you could easily separate those two things.
Yeah. But it depends how ergonomic the board is as well, because, I mean, I get everything that I need. I mean, you know, my board's the same size as Mick's. Is it the same size?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more on
Right,
it, obviously.
yeah, and there's more on it.
More on.
Very good. Very good. And just to rub it in, I didn't pick that up for quite a while.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Michael Gilberto says, Friday show demonstrates... Hello, Michael, by the way. Michael Gilberto.
Hi, mate.
Friday show demonstrates once more that you both have educator DNA.
Ah.
In addition to music and the business bits. Cheers from Connecticut, USA.
Oh,
Thanks,
thanks,
you, Michael.
Mate. Thanks, mate.
Unfortunately, YouTube hated the video. And it started off really well, and it was doing that. And then it just stopped
And just went, oh, actually.
and just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, yeah.
So we didn't pick up the algorithm, the dreaded algorithm. So Dan and I have both been Googling about YouTube's algorithm over the weekend to find out what we did wrong.
Yeah, and not...
Because
We
we
don't
thought it would be a relatively high
Yeah.
view, but it was very, very low.
Not,
So-
and not that we're necessarily chasing the numbers, but a video like that we thought has value for a large number of people because there's so many people getting into it, and like, where do you start? I thought, okay, we can help. But anyway, YouTube for whatever reason, I think it's this. I think the problem is this.
We think it's threefold. One is there's a million videos on that subject already,
Yeah.
and they're a little bit. Some of them.
Is there though?
Well, I found 20.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I see. They're a little bit more beginner level than TPS. I think what people were expecting was buy this specific pedal, and we were like, nah, don't do that. Think about the pedal type. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So that's number one. Number two, most of our regular viewers found it too boring, so didn't watch it. And anybody new to us are like, wow, I don't know. Who are those guys? Talk too much. Video's too long. This is not for me. So I think we just fell between the stools.
Yeah.
So no more beginner stuff. That can all shit off.
Old Blood Noise Endeavours is on. Hey.
Hey, hello.
Awesome. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
But thank you, Michael. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thank you. The people that watched it liked it.
We might want to educate, but nobody wants to listen. I know how a school teacher feels now. Sign hypotenuse.
I had a dream that I was a teacher the other day. It was terrifying.
Now, what do we call dreams that are horrible, Dan?
Yeah, there you go.
Props to the teachers.
Indeed. Just how you do it.
Cap doff to the teachers.
I told you I used to teach guitar at a shop for ages. And I used to work during the day, and then in the evening I'd go and teach guitar. And I remember I was a terrible guitar teacher, and because I was so tired. And I remember I had this young lad, and I taught him a major scale. And I said to him, okay, just play with the major scale. I want you to start at G. When you get to the top, I want you to move up to A flat. And then I want you to keep going all the way up to E. I said, I'm just going to put my head against the wall. I'm going to shut my eyes and listen carefully to everything that you're playing. And then I remember waking up and he was just sat there staring at me. He'd like finished like 10 minutes ago and was just waiting quietly. And I just went, I just woke up and went, that was really good. That was really good. Well done. Well done. Unreal.
Okay. Lots of people saying they enjoyed Friday's show. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
That's
they thought
lovely.
it was interesting. Well, we'll see what the follow-up this week is. Your next three pedals. We do get a little bit more tweaky with the next three. So
Yeah.
Swizz871.
Hello, Swizz.
I'm also planning to record an EP at home and was wondering if you could talk about mic preamps. Any things I should be wary of? I'm tempted to get a Chandler Limited TG2, and do I need a limiter or an attenuator?
Let's have a look at the word need, because it depends on. Mick would say, yes, you need all of the above and other periphery ancillary products. But it depends.
Yeah, it does. I think if you're going to be playing it, right, first thing to say is it's much easier to record a quiet guitar than it is a loud one.
Right.
That's a really nice place to be for home recording where, if you're in a sort of normal domestic situation and you can't crank the amp. I've always found it much easier to get a bigger sound recorded if you use a nice sensitive microphone, so not necessarily an SM57 or something like that, which you would assume would be the go-to mic for a guitar cab. But use, a full range capacitor mic, a large diaphragm capacitor mic in the way that we do here. But when your amp is quiet, there's a couple things you can do. You can have it a bit further away from the amp, so you do get a little bit of the room as well. But also, you get a fuller frequency response out of those kind of mics, and they're not so dynamically reliant. So that thing about an SM57, it needs to be off. Well, it doesn't need to be. Helps if it's off axis, if it's really loud. Actually, a really, really loud guitar amp mic, you're often doing things to mitigate the problems of that with the miking technique, hence the off axis, hence the moving it further away so you don't get the proximity effect. The point, sorry, too much detail. The point being, it is actually easier to record a quieter amp than it is a loud one, in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
At that point as well, if you've just got a relatively basic audio interface in between your microphones and your computer, that's probably all the mic preamp you'll ever need, because you can use plugins. The problem comes when you start cranking the amps, because then you find that there's not enough headroom in the interface to really take a cranked amp. Yeah. That's where a really nice mic pre can make a big difference, etc., 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 to the point where, how long have we been doing this now? 6 years?
6 years.
We've only just moved to using proper mic preamps. So everything you've heard on that pedal show up until about 6 months ago was just microphone straight into interface.
Yeah.
So do you need a mic pre? I guess that's up to you. Limiters and stuff. So an attenuator on the amp, you need that if you want to crank the amp and get an overdriven sound from the amp at lower volume. So if you can't crank the amp up and you want to do that, then an attenuator is a great idea. A limiter is something else. That's something that happens to stop the clipping either into or out of the audio interface, depending on how you're organising it all. I don't think, if you're just getting into it, I don't think any of these things are required. I think
There's
you
other
can do
stuff.
it
There's
all
other
in
stuff.
all in software.
There's other stuff that you'll get into during the process if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
I've all of the instruments for my EP are done. I'm still working how to record the vocals. Mick has very kindly offered to help me record the vocals here. Kind of defeats the purpose of the vlog, but I found that I went so far down the rabbit hole that it was like I became not disheartened, but it's like when you it's like to get really good, and if you really want to sound like an album, there's a reason that the really good producers use all that amazing outboard stuff.
Yeah.
But saying that, it is incredible what you can achieve.
It's unbelievable.
With a simple interface and
it's absolutely unbelievable.
Pro Tools, whatever.
The thing that I've discovered about using high quality outboard analog gear, and this is just my experience here on the show and doing a few projects for other people, also all the time recording for Guitarist Magazine and all of that, but actually doing essentially the engineering and producing job myself, what I've learned is that great mics, great mic pre's, nice guitars and amps means the absolute minimum of post work is required. So, for example, all the episodes of That Pedal Show you've heard in the last 6 weeks, maybe, month, have no plugins.
No plugins at all. It's just straight into the...
Mic pre, desk, computer, no plugins.
Yeah.
Whereas before we'd fix with a bit of EQ, I might use a limiter across the master bus purely because the dynamic range was too much. I mean, we do the volume automation and still do that, but no plugins now. And I think they're the best sounds we've ever had.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing, it's the old producers thing, isn't it? Get it right as source, no need to fix in the mix.
Yeah.
So that's, in defense of nice mics and nice pre's, that's what I would say. If you're really happy with your sound, you're a confident player, you love the way your guitar amp sounds, I think that's the benefit of using nice mics and pre's, is the requirement for post work is minimized.
There's so much that you can do just with where you put the mic on this stuff. The
millimeters.
It makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so learning about that stuff at this stage is as valuable, if not more valuable than, you know.
And just finally on that is not to deride the approach that says I'm just going to record it direct, not mic'd, and then do everything in post, because that's a super creative way to do it as well if that's what you want to do. And there's absolutely no downside to doing that. You do get lost in plugins a bit, but if you know what you're after, absolutely no reason why that's not a valid approach as well. So
great.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck, mate.
Whit Anderson. Hello, Whit.
Hello, Woo.
Greetings from Hopewell, New Jersey. Here's a dad joke for Father's Day. Oh, yeah, it was Father's Day in the UK yesterday. What's the definition of an optimist?
No, don't know.
A guitarist with a mortgage. Much love. Nice.
Very good.
Nice. Pascal K says, that's the way it should be for this type of recording. A sub 50 hertz cut is the only thing that should be needed. Yeah, we don't really even need that. Sometimes I do a bit of a tweak up on the room mics just to figure out some of the standing wave we have in here, but that's it. Yes. Interestingly, Dan Stubbs is on.
Right.
He says, all you need is a mic and a computer. Make sure you enjoy your hobby before buying all the gear. Dan, I think that is really brilliant advice.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. When I saw Stubbs, I read Tubbs.
Oh, okay.
There is a point, I promise. My friend Chris came up on Saturday. He's given me some guitar lessons. I'm really pleased about it. Anyway, he says, have you heard David Crosby's latest record? I'm like, nope. Stick it on. Lovely song. Amazing guitar playing, like crazy good guitar playing. And I said, I'm not sure who that is. It's definitely not Landau. It's not, you know, all the usual suspects. It's Sean Tubbs.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, wonderful.
So, nice. Sorry, massive tangent.
I was speaking to Owen. So our friend Owen, who's playing for the Chicks now, and if you follow him on Instagram, you can see the crowds. Man alive, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And so he's having the time of his life. Right?
That's cool.
Yeah,
that must be really a nice gig.
But he spent some time with Sean, and he's like, he is ridiculous. He's such an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
And this has come from Owen, who's just
I was going to say
mind-blowingly good. You know.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, I love watching Sean's demos just to hear him play. He's a remarkable guitar player.
He is lovely listening. Sean Tubbs, if you don't know. Sean
Yeah.
with a W, Tubbs with 2 B's and an S. Gies van Esmorite. Gies van de Esmorite. And I'm sorry if we've said that wrong, or if I've said it wrong. Anyway, Gies, he says, thanks for all the inspiration. It's the best show on the internet.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Thank you. I run a Jupiter Effects Silver machine. Nice. Into a Screddy hybrid fuzz driver, into a JHS Morning Glory, into a Victory V40. What tone bender pedal will complement this?
Okay, very good. So the
Marcus sent me one. Marcus Reeves sent me one.
okay.
Mark 1 tone bender.
Oh wow.
By Seeker.
Oh, lovely. We've got a soft spot for the Mark 1 circuit. Oh, that's got a tone control on it though.
Yeah, I think it's based on a Mark 1.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Right.
That's what Marcus said.
Right.
I plugged it in and I was at a gig and I couldn't make it do what I wanted it to do. And I
Right.
figured it was because it wasn't plugged in right.
Okay.
What else do we like then, tone bender wise? What are the ones we liked on that day? Union Tube and Transistor.
Union
ones were
Tube
great.
Transistor ones was really good.
Tour bender.
That tour bender, yes.
Loads of people do Mark 2s and Mark 4s, but the Mark 1s are quite rare, and that's my favourite one by a million miles.
Yeah. I love the Juju from Pig Dog Effects. I love that one.
What's the dude with the moustache that was in the band that we liked?
Oh yes. He was in Fu Manchu.
Yes.
It is.
Something about dogs.
Oh, come on, brain.
Bent leg effects.
Bent leg effects. No, it is. It's here. Where is he? Everyone's screaming at us.
Creepy Fingers.
Creepy Fingers. There you go.
Yes.
The Thorpe Boneyard as well. Thank you, BV. Is
Oh yeah, new out. Yeah.
if you can find one, they're amazing.
Okay, so we're going to say Thorpe Boneyard. We're going to say Creepy Fingers, whatever their tone bender is, and we're going to say Union Tube and Transistor Tour Bender.
Great.
Okay.
Man, my asthma from all this pollen. It's really crazy.
That's not good.
But you know,
That'll help with the singing on
it
Thursday.
would be. Yeah.
Do you need to get some more water?
Peg, it will come.
Gents, says Alexander Hadich. Is it possible or a good idea to run TPS wet dry through 2 inputs of 1 amp, for example a Fender 59 Bassman, using the same setup like with 2 amps split after the gain stages? You definitely can do this, and people do it. The problem with doing it in the Bassman is the channels sound so massively different.
Yeah.
You'd probably have to maybe add an EQ or something to the dark sounding channel, because it's really dark. Same if you've got Plexi Marshall. But yeah, you certainly can do that. I think that the chief benefits of wet dry is when it comes out of separate speakers.
Yeah.
That's when you get the real love happening. The benefit you'd be getting doing it the way you're talking about is you're essentially setting up a parallel effects mix. So you can turn the wet up and down.
Yeah, and it can
To
work
taste.
great. I mean, I've done it with the Matchless before as well. And yeah, it can work great. I guess if what you've got is a good analog dry through, and it's like if you're only taking 1 amp to the gig, it will stop you having to sum the outputs that, you know, at the end and stick into 1 amplifier. So yeah, you can do that. yeah, I mean, give it a go. You know, so one of the things I used to do was put my tape delay in with my AC30. I'd go into the input, come out of the secondary input into the input of the tape delay, back into the normal channel, and use the normal channel to feed the tape delay in, and that was cool. You know, I didn't really see much benefit though when I started to A/B them. What was I getting
that you weren't getting?
That wasn't getting going straight in. The issue was, because like as you mentioned, the channels sound so different that even though it was cool being able to dial that in, but it just didn't have the same thing as going straight in. So
well, one of the benefits might be if on a dual channel amp like that, if you crank one of the channels into overdrive, bearing in mind you're hitting the headroom ceiling, so it's not really getting any louder, but maybe you're running the other channel cleaner and fixing with an EQ. So maybe your reverbs and delays could stay a bit cleaner. That might be a benefit to doing it.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you run your reverb delays into a cranked clean channel, then a cranked overdrive channel, then it's just going to be mushy and messy, which you might want, but a lot of people really don't want. So that could be one benefit.
Yeah.
Where you crank one channel and keep the other one cleaner.
Yeah.
That could be a way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are trying actually.
See if you can, if there's a kill dry on your wet, even if it's just a kill dry on the delay, just to try. But give it a go. Be fun.
Nice. Leg ends, hope you're doing all right, says Luis Enrique Machado.
Oh, thank you, mate. Doing well.
I'm planning on a wet stereo rig with an SV20 Marshall Studio Vintage 20
Nice
dry and a UAFX Dream. Thoughts on phase, latency and other considerations? Yeah, unfortunately you won't be able to do that because the UAFX, given that it is wholly digital when it's on, if you use the cab and cab simulations anyway, in fact I think it's always digital, you will get, there'll be latency, so it won't be in phase with the Marshall.
Yeah, and it's that sort of because it's a time-based latency, you would either need to delay the direct amp by the same amount and to put everything back in phase. It is tricky. That's the only real answer for it to sound big is to delay it by the same amount. I had this thing with, I was messing around with my echo system. I'm like, something doesn't sound right. It's, when I kick it in, something's changing, and I tried everything, and then I got hold of the guys, and they were really helpful. They said, "Oh, have you turned the looper on?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, well, the looper puts the digital through an AD, puts the dry through a digital AD converter."
Right.
I'm like, so I turn the looper off on it, and then suddenly it just goes, whoom, and that tiny, even though you think, okay, it might just be 1 millisecond, it's everything, because it gives you this comb filter effect. Yeah. And you got rid of that, and suddenly it's like the delays come back, and they're just huge, and it's like, because I was trying to dial them in for the gig.
Yeah.
Like, there's something just not right. It turned that off, and just like,
there we are.
all the delays are magic again.
Yeah.
So it does make a big difference.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how you could get around that. It's a pain mixing analog and digital stuff wet dry.
Yeah, that's why we
always
indeed
wet dry wet. If you're wet only, which you won't be because you're using the Dream as an amp, but if it was, digital delays and stuff that were fully AD converted and there was no dry, that would be okay.
Yeah,
but it's not okay if the dry signal is present.
Yeah, if you remember the video that we did with Devon, that's how he was doing it. He had his valve amp bang down the center, and stereo stuff from his Axe Effects, but kill dry, going left and right.
Yeah, it was an Axe Effects.
Yeah, and it sounded absolutely mega, but there was no dry signal in this stereo stuff, and it was just heavenly.
Justin Baylog. Hello, Justin.
Hey, Justin.
He says, Mick, your new rig has got me thinking. I've got a Mesa 5050 and stereo cab from my old band days.
Nice.
What are some of the options for a preamp pedal to look at to complete the build? Thanks as always.
Can I just say, anyone that's coming along to the gigs, the guitar sounds are just massive. Man, your sound with that rig,
I do like it.
is just marvellous.
What's interesting is it's quite a lot of the sounds I wouldn't use. So there's no tube screamery SRV sound.
Yeah, right.
There's no fuzzy Jimmy sound.
Yeah.
Because the set we're doing doesn't warrant that. It's much more. It's a set of sounds I don't normally use, and it sounds flipping massive. Needless to say, Dan has gone to town on his board, and there are some sounds he's made that I can't quite believe, let alone understand. So we're doing like Owner of a Lonely Heart, and the crazy pitch shifted guitar solo that's in it, he does it. Some other stuff throughout the set, every now and again I'm like, what? It's really killer. It's really killer. Anyway, Justin, I just won't look past the Kingsley stuff because everything else I've tried, which is not to say, right, so preamp pedals, they need to have enough mumbo to drive that power amp properly.
Mm-hmm.
There are some overdrive pedals. This is really confusing, and I don't know whether it's output impedance. I don't know whether it's output level. I don't understand it. What I can tell you is normal overdrive pedal, even those that can do a preamp job, have never quite got the mumbo to get the power amp going. And that is most obvious to me in the way the high frequency presents.
Yeah. So if you imagine your overdrive pedal needs to go into your guitar goes into that, and then that goes into the amplifier. And the amplifier, the input of the amplifier is instrument level, right? So an overdrive pedal is looking to produce generally an instrument level signal. But when you look at the power amp stage, the power amp stage wants to be hit by a line level signal.
Yeah.
So that preamp in the amplifier takes whatever, overdrive pedals and that, gets that signal up to a stage where it can drive the power stage, drive that phase inverter, and then
so it could
away
be
we go.
so thanks to Dan's explanation, it could be as simple as it being proper line level. However, lots of the guitar preamps I've tried, to me anyway, all sound like they're trying a bit too hard, for want of a better word. So they might, because they're going for a Fender Black Panel sound, or because they're going for this particular sound, they're always too bassy, or everything's overdone. It feels like in a lot of them, they're always got too much gain for me. The Kingsley stuff sounds like an amp. It sounds like the Maiden D sounds like a clean guitar amp, and it sounds like an amazing clean guitar amp.
It really does. It really does.
Into the Page DS, which is the other side of the Dumble Overdrive Special kind of sound. And it's a sound that appeals to me. It's got everything I want, nothing I don't. Controls are super simple, and it works. Others that I've tried, we got some good sounds out of the Effectro Blackbird.
Yeah. The Effectro stuff is really great.
There's all the Synergy stuff, which I think is pretty good. There's loads and loads of old rack mount pre's that you could probably find on reverb.com.
There's a mod that you can do to the old JMP1.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, the JMP1, right? The preamp.
Oh, yeah. I mean, seeing as you're in Mesa Land, we haven't even talked about the old Triaxis and the quads.
Man, they were killer.
You need to be careful with the Triaxis. There aren't many people that can fix them anymore, and when they go wrong in a big way.
Right.
You might be better off with something like a Studio Pre or a Quad Pre, which I think is predominantly easily more fixable inside there. But of course, by the time you got to the Triaxis, it's like one U, loads of
shenanigans. Yeah, totally.
So
I did covet that for a long time.
Yeah.
When I was in my rack days.
Well, Simon, who sold me the 61, he's just found one.
Oh, really?
Or he's had one for a long time, and he had to get it repaired, and he knows this dude who managed to repair it, and it's all been a bit difficult.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oliver Boyson says, what about the Victory preamps? Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're very good. Victory V4 series, all of them got too much gain for me.
Right.
They sound great,
Yeah.
but there's none of them are clean enough.
Sure.
So if you like the sound of a Crank Marshall or a Crank Vox, they are exceptionally good.
Yeah.
And for the higher gain sounds, but I couldn't get a clean enough sound for my personal liking. So yeah, there are a lot of options. I know there's a bit of a way. I'm at a point where I just would not look past the Kingsley stuff.
Yeah, it always sounds amazing.
It's exceptional.
But is that thing where when you hear Simon play, it's like, oh, that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
Because he knows dynamics as well as anyone alive.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I know how to make this work with a dynamic guitar signal. And that's,
The other thing you could try... No, it's too complex. I was going to say you could use the front end of another amp, but then you'd have to have a speaker connected and all the rest of it. Maybe there's some good suggestions coming in the comments. V-Twin?
V-Twin, yeah. It's got Gala and
Is
Mike
it actually a preamp pedal or is it an overdrive pedal?
V-Twin is a preamp.
It was.
Yeah.
Groove Tubes Trio.
Oh,
Steve Salsa. When I said there's loads of lovely old rack mount stuff, that's exactly what I was thinking of. The Groove Tubes Trio.
I remember Steve Rothery showing me that. And actually, David Holmes, who was, when I was growing up, he used to play guitar for my sister. And he's the most extraordinary guitar player. And he used to use one. And always sounded just terrific with that thing.
Yeah. Yes, so hopefully that's of use, Justin. V-Twin, good shout.
Yeah, very good shout.
Again, I don't know what the clean part of it's like, but anyway. Iron Wolf 1776. I finally located and ordered a Source Audio Collider. It's due here on Thursday or Friday and will free up a loop on my switcher, allowing me to add an MXR flanger.
Lovely.
Nice one, Iron Wolf.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, we like them.
Yeah.
We really like them. Interesting that they're hard to get hold of.
I think everything's getting hard to get hold of at the moment.
Oh man, we buy these little bags of they're called milk bone treats for Rosie.
Right.
And you get it in Pet's Corner. They were $8.50 for 3 bags. And we'd use them as training treats for her, and the things you use treats for a dog. They're now £13 for 3 bags.
Oh man!
So that's the grain price increase.
Yeah,
presumably
it's a lot worse than that for lots of them. The fertilizer's gone absolutely crazy. So really tricky. Glad
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Dan. Chris Groom. Chris, as ever, thank you so kindly for your generosity, and indeed to everyone who's kind enough to super chat for us.
Thank you.
It does make a difference.
It really does. Really appreciate it.
He says, hi Mick, hi Dan, Chris Groom. Another new guitar day. I managed to find another Vanquish guitar, a Woodtone Mystique. There's a vid on YouTube by Woodtone, supposedly a Les Paul killer.
Oh, wow.
Great vid on First Pedals. All the best, Chris.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, congrats on your new guitar day. Nothing like a new guitar day. It's always very special.
Yeah, Vanquish guitars. Was it Mike at ATB that liked Vanquish guitars? Somebody did.
Right.
And then, anyway, we should check that out.
Yeah, lovely.
Happy new guitar day.
Yeah, indeed, mate. Have fun.
I do have to say that the dear old gold top through the Maiden, the Page DS, and the Boogie stereo rig sounds nuts.
Oz Singh says, how do I get that alimony tone? Now, I don't know if Oz is an Australian, and because I was in a band called Alimony for a while, a covers band in Brisbane. That can't be.
It's got to be a song, isn't it?
Probably.
Alimony by Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, right, that'll do.
Or indeed by Ry Cooder. It's probably by Ry Cooder.
The Weird Al tone.
Yeah. Sorry to say, I don't know without listening to the track.
Indeed.
But if it's Ry Cooder, it's going to be something pretty funky and cool.
Yeah.
investigate projector amps,
Yeah.
specifically the was it Bell and
Howell?
Bell and Howell
Bell and Howell?
385?
Yeah. He also did a lot of stuff with JC120s. He liked those amps.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice. That's just about as wide a gamut of guitar amps as you could ever
absolutely
imagine, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, you know how I got into him first? The Cocktail soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
Because I remember seeing that film, I thought, what is going on there? There's some really, and it's like, man alive, some awesome guitar sounds on that thing.
Yeah. Obviously, it was Paris, Texas for me, Dan. Carl Longbottom. Hello, Carl.
G'day, mate.
He says, gents, any recommendations for a compressor to bolster low volume playing into the front of the amp just to add a bit more feel? Massive thanks as ever. Also, massive thanks to BV.
Really great question. So, any time that we've used the Cali 76, it has always sounded magical. And I think it's for a compressor that will do everything, you know, a massive gamut of compression sounds, really hard to go past that. And they've done a number of versions of it, but the standard Cali 76 is a really wonderful sounding thing. Now, there are other compressors. So the Diamond compressor, if you can get hold of it, is one of those compressors that is overtly a compressor. It sounds like a compressor. It doesn't have that mix control thing where, you know, it's like you still get all the front end of the note, all the transients, and then it'll just sustain. No, it sounds like it's squashing everything. And I love that sound as well. So, you know, your old MXR Dynacomps and that sort of thing. But that sound is also, that overtly compressed sound is also in a Cali. But there's loads of wonderful compressors out there. The Keeley 4-knob compressor is awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The ones to look at are the Keeley compressor, just called just the Keeley compressor.
Yeah.
It's got 4 knobs on it. And I would also say the Exotic SP compressor.
Yeah, great.
Both of those are somewhat more available than some of the tweakier stuff.
Yep. The Wampler compressor.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, yeah, the Ego or the Mini Ego.
Yeah.
The Mini Ego is excellent.
Yep, really great.
They're both excellent, but the Mini Ego is even excellent because it's affordable as well. I can't say I've played any of the, you know, the Me Too brands, the Moors and the Tone Cities and all of that. I'm sure they do something really good. Keeley is a byword in great compressors.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
What was the Compressor Pro that they did? Man, that thing was fantastic.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Good luck, Carl.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
Matthew Lawrence. Hello, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
Says, hi, leg ends. No question to ask. Just to say I can't wait to see both you and Andy T this Thursday.
Ah, awesome, mate.
Coming to Froome. And the Experience Day on Friday.
Oh, nice.
Nice one, Matthew. Yeah, you should be in for a bit of fun. You can offer some moral support to me and Daniel, who will be probably struggling on Friday morning as we ease back into the world after the gig on Thursday night.
Yeah, good luck getting some sleep after that, I reckon.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing you, Matthew.
Yeah.
Kid Charlemagne's on.
Nice.
Here's a pint for the boot fillers of knowledge.
Oh, cheers, buddy. The boot fillers of knowledge.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Josh Connett. He says, hey gents from San Jose, California. I just got a Mesa Mark 5 90 watt head and 212 Recto cab with vintage 30. Sounds mega. Want to get a 412?
We like you. We like you.
As a good halfway for crunch and clean. Any suggestions or speaker combo ideas?
My favourite 412 was was it a basket weave one that had the 4 greenbacks in it? Just sounded fantastic. The thing with the greenbacks is...
What, our 412, you mean?
Is that got the greenbacks in it?
Yeah.
Right. Now, the greenbacks don't have a lot of bottom end, and they really suit being in that 4x12 enclosure.
I was going to say, you don't need it in a 412.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just works really well. And you can still put your 100 watt amps into it and it'll still take it, but the for me, there's something magic about greenbacks in a 4x12.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a new cab, find somewhere and turn it up and pummel them.
Let it play for a bit.
Yeah.
Even
And
give
then
it some
because
50 hertz for a
the
bit.
difference between a played-in 4x12 and a new 4x12 is, I mean, same as any amp, but a 4x12 is just drastic.
Yeah. I would say if you've got the 212 Recto cab, that already sounds like most 412s. It's an astonishing cab. And the Mesa 412 enclosures with their amps are otherworldly.
Right.
They are exceptional cabs. They've done a few over the years. The Recto is massive. They do some smaller ones, and they did a half open, half closed, and that might suit that Mark V perfectly.
Right.
Because it's such a versatile amp. Sometimes you want the closed back of the bottom half of it for the thump. But sometimes you want the air, especially for your reverbs and stuff. If if you're in an environment that enables sound to come from that cab in all directions, I would see if you could find one. 412 cabs are not popular at the moment, so they're you can find them for semi-sensible money. So I would have a look around for a Mesa 412.
Okay.
I love their cabs. I've always loved their cabs.
All right.
Yeah, especially with their amps, because they put across the power in a really interesting way, and I think having a powerful speaker with a Mesa amp is always a good way to go.
Sure. Yeah, that combination that you've got, that 2x12 and the 50/50, it is something else.
It does. It's a really different sound for me, but I blimmin' love it.
Yeah,
I blimmin' love
wonderful.
it. Non-aligned.
Hey, mate.
When did you first realise that music was going to be your vocation? How reluctant were you to commit to music-related careers?
I remember the moment. I was 10 years old, and I was at my dad and my stepmom's house, and I was in the bathroom, and I'd just been playing something on the guitar, and I remember looking myself in the mirror and going, this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I remember the exact moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
How old were you again, sorry?
10.
10.
How interesting is this, right? I did a bit of, a friend of mine asked me to come and do some guest lecturing at a music college and talk about, effects and stuff and playing. And there was probably 20 kids in there. Actually, Jake, who works for me now, was one of the kids in there.
No way.
And 20 kids studying music full time. And I said, just out of interest, who here knows that they're going to have a career in music? As in, music is the only thing that occupies them. It's their waking thought. And out of that 20 people in the class, 3 people put their hands up. And these are students that are studying music full time.
Wow.
And
you would hope it's a bit higher than that.
you would, and the teacher was like, really? He was stunned.
Yeah.
It was really, really interesting. I think there are, when those, and there may be more, because maybe they were shy, didn't want to put their hands up. But there was those 3 kids that I knew, Jake being one of them, who they just had that thing. It's like, this is it. I'm absolutely all in on this. Yeah. But I remember the moment that I it wasn't even the decision. It wasn't a decision that I made. I just remember recognizing it, going, that's it. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah. I think that's, for a lot of people, that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's not a decision or a like you say, it's not a, it just is.
It just is. Absolutely.
And what you use the word vocation, non-aligned. If it is a vocation, then you never make the decision. That's the definition of vocation. For me, it's not that at all. In fact, so always play guitar from super young, and started playing out in bars and stuff super young, like 13, 14, and playing a lot 15, 16, to the point where I'd have to come back late from gigs and go to school, that kind of early. And then in just before university time, so A-level time, which here in the UK is 17, 18, the band I was in, some of the other guys really did have it as their vocation, and they were off and they ended up getting signed and, doing the whole music as a career thing. I was looking at my friends around me getting signed and getting dropped.
Yes.
And going,
I don't want
absolutely
this.
not for me. I'm going to go to uni. And my dad was like, he couldn't believe it. Because my dad, bless you, Dad, if you're watching, happy Father's Day for yesterday. My dad was always like my biggest supporter, and he'd drive me around to gigs and he helped me get the gear, and he was massive, and he just could not understand why I wouldn't want to make music my career. But I'm like, no way. That guy owes his record company 100 grand. That guy is going to owe his record company 100 grand in 9 months' time.
Right.
It's just not for me. Plus, at a very tender time in my development, I met some players that were so much better than me on a scale I could not understand.
Right.
I thought there is no way I would ever be good enough. And I genuinely thought that.
You're hilarious.
So I was like, sod this, it's not for me. Now, of course, I know that you don't actually have to be very good. You just have to be committed. Do you? You don't have to be Guthrie Govan good.
No.
You don't have to be Robbie McIntosh good. You
Yeah,
can
sure.
just be vectored. And I had neither.
Right.
So there was no way I was ever going to be a studio guitar player or just vectored enough to write songs and be great that way. I just didn't have the vocation. So what I was interested in, and this is a true story, this is something I tried to explain to my publishers at Guitarist magazine for all the years I was there.
Right.
They kept calling it a music magazine. I'm like, it is not a music magazine.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with music. It's a guitar magazine.
Right.
They are very different things.
That's so interesting.
People who read Guitarist magazine are interested in guitars.
Yeah.
Now, they might be interested in music through that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to tell you, if I put artist B on the cover, 80% of the audience are going to hate it because they don't like guitarist B. And we can prove that in magazine sales.
Right. Wow.
Put Strat on the cover, sells good. Put artist B on the cover,
Wow.
turns to crap. Put Hendrix, Clapton, Gilmour, Jimmy Page on the cover,
Bang.
boom.
Right. Did you put all four of them in Santa hats for the Christmas?
Yeah. And that
thing?
never changed, and I don't
Right.
think it really has changed. John Mayer might sell a few. Our first John Mayer issue sold well, second one not so well. Keep going. We put virtually everyone on the cover over those years,
Right.
and you can see. Anyway, so my point is, when you say music being your vocation, guitars was my vocation,
Yeah.
and I'm much more interested in guitars than I am music. And
Sure.
I'm really, I'm sorry to say that, because I'm only interested in that much music.
Yeah.
Out of
All that.
this much music, I'm really only interested in that much of it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm interested in, well,
That
most of the guitars.
Yeah, yeah. Lovely. Great.
So anyway, thank you for the question.
Yeah, very good.
And then, of course, a load of luck and being in the right place at the right time,
Totally.
where it's the best option you can say yes to that day.
Yeah, totally.
I must have applied for 50 graduate jobs, trying to get a decent, a graduate job on a graduate program for a
Right.
decent company.
Right.
Just
Not there.
didn't go to the right university,
Man.
did I? Mike 2203 fan.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, DNM. What made you choose the venue in Whitney for your gigs this Saturday and Sunday? Have you played there before? I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play.
We have played there before. It's one of our favourite venues we've ever played. It's fantastic. There's sound is amazing. The people running it are wonderful. Sound guy is legendary.
Zach is...
Just
Yeah.
we last time we played there with Joey Landreth, and so we turn up 6 guitar amps on stage, and we thought, oh, this isn't going to fly. So that comes up, it's like, yeah, come on, I'm going to mic all the amps. It's going to be amazing, and it was epic.
It was epic.
So
yeah. He doesn't mind loud guitars, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a big part of it.
And that was the first thing when we thought about doing this dates. Is like, we're going to book it around that venue being available.
Yeah, yeah. It's also a really nice place. They have a pizza restaurant and stuff next door, so you can have something to eat before the gig. It's just, we just like it there.
Yeah, really
So, yeah.
lovely.
We also, probably fair to say that after COVID and after having to can the first set of dates where we were very ambitious with venues, we played it much more cautious on this one because this is not a woe is me story, but we lost money and it was all just like everyone did in COVID. It just was not a very good turnout in terms of how it all rolled over. But so we were just a bit more cautious about this one. And hopefully by doing this one, we can gain a bit more confidence and do more of it, because playing has just been And it's been ace.
Oh, man.
We haven't even done any gigs yet, and it's been ace.
Yeah. We rehearsed the other night for hours. And at the end of it, there was 5 of us in this little space playing loud, and it was magical.
It was magical.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I was absolutely on a high, buzzing like all the way home.
Till I sent down the recording saying, mate, the vocals are awful, the tempos are all pushing, we've got a lot of work to do. And he's like, oh, way to bring me down.
Yeah, no, but it was great.
Yeah. So, that's why, Mike, and we look forward to seeing you. Really hope you enjoy it. We hope you enjoy Andy, because Andy is just something else. I was listening to his new record, or his newest record yesterday.
Yeah.
Far out, that guy is just, he's off the scale.
He is. What he does is so unique. So, like, he does the melody bits, but everything else is improvised.
Yeah.
You have a basic framework, but it's just like, let's go with this one. Yeah. And Josh's, because Josh Smith produced that album, he's done a really wonderful job.
Oh, it sounds mega.
And Josh was just saying how awesome it was working with Andy, and yeah, just great.
Can't wait. I feel it's going to be a life-changing few days, and we feel very lucky to be able to have that.
Indeed. And I'm really grateful to everyone that's coming as well. It'll be really great.
Guitar Moog says, I hope this is okay. I know you guys gave up SM for your MH, social media for your mental health.
Okay.
I know you guys gave up social media for your mental health. I did, Dan didn't. A few of us who couldn't set up Guitar Twitter as a sanctuary. It's lovely, supportive, and all are welcome. In Twitter, go to communities and search Guitar Twitter. One word. Okay, that's Guitar Moog saying, check out Guitar Twitter. So Guitar Twitter, where is it? Well, I'm guessing it's on Twitter. So apparently it's a very comfortable place.
Lovely.
For guitar people to be.
Yeah, lovely.
Nice.
This is my comfortable place for guitar.
Here.
Just Monday nights hanging out with everyone, having a chat.
Yeah, I like it. It's as much as I can take social media wise. Someone was asking me about that the other day, and I said it's like an alcoholic. There's loads of people that can drink responsibly and can enjoy alcohol, and it's all good. And there are some people who can't, and for those people, they shouldn't drink.
Right.
And that's me in social media.
Okay, that's a really good analogy.
I can drink fine, but me in social media, it's destructive, and it's not something that needs to be in my life.
Sure.
Now, anyway, but for those of you who enjoy it, happy days, and please check out Guitar Twitter. Hello from Prince Country, Minneapolis, Maine, says Brian Peckle.
We went there, didn't we?
We did.
We did. It's lovely.
We did.
It's the biggest mall in the world. And they had all the Lego stuff there, and it was amazing.
I'd forgotten the Lego mall.
Yeah.
Giant dinosaur, wasn't it?
And the helicopter from the roof and stuff full-size Lego helicopter.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was great fun.
What string action do you aim for when setting your guitars up? Says Brian Peckle. And do you ever run different gauges? Bonus question. Favourite type of plectrum?
I thought I had a decent action until Ainsley Lister came down and I played one of his strats, and I immediately went and put all my guitar's actions up.
Ditto.
Yep. It's like, oh, okay, this is how you do it. And it's
Here is that guitar.
a revelation.
It's out there.
So,
there is a slight complicating factor, right? Which I hadn't quite realised. We did touch on it briefly last week. If you use big frets, you can afford to have the action a bit higher.
Right.
Because the fret sticks off the... I mean, I know you always measure from the top of the fret to the underside of the string anyway,
sure.
But I think there's an even more you can have. For me, the thing that I cannot deal with, and this is a problem with the 61 at the moment, is my too much flesh in connection with
on
the fingerboard. Because I just find it really hard. And that's not to say none, it's just too much. I find it too sticky, and that's why I can't play maple fingerboards, lacquered maple fingerboards. having put it up on both the gold Strats, I just play so much more freely with a high action.
Yeah.
And the 61 I'm really struggling to play because the nut needs doing and I need to get more action on it, which I can't, so I'm going to take it to someone to have a look at. The Leicester is slightly different. Too much action on that is problematic. So it needs to be up there.
Oh, interesting, but there's a line.
But there's a line.
Yeah,
but there's
yeah,
almost no line on the Strat without sounding too whatever about it.
How amazing.
In realistic terms.
Sure.
I don't know what those measurements would be, but
Yeah.
certainly more than Fender's suggested spec.
Yep. Nick and I have our own strings that you can actually buy in the shop, that pedalshowstore.com, and we have our own custom gauges. I have 11 to 52s, and I use them on all my guitars. Mix is 10.5 to
50.
50.
Yeah, I use 11s on the Gibson, so 11s on the Leicester and on the 335, 11 to 52, and 10.5 to 50 on the Strats.
Yep. And we both use Primetone 1.5mm picks.
Standard ones. Dunlop Primetone 1.5 standard, so just the smooth ones. But yeah, action's such a thing. I mean, loads of people are going to be saying, how, what are the notes? Thrive Suffer says, fret size makes no difference to action because your finger never actually touches the frets. It does make a difference because of how much you push the string down. So the action measurement, I totally agree with you. I agree that it makes no difference to that because you measure between the bottom of the string and the top side of the fret. However, it makes quite a big difference to the feel of the guitar depending on how much of your hand is in contact with the fretboard. Now, you're absolutely right that the measurement doesn't change, but the feel changes dramatically. And then, of course, where do we measure our action? 12th fret usually. What is happening on the rest of that neck? How much relief do you have?
Yeah.
I like a lot of relief, which,
okay.
Lots of guitar repairers really hate because they want it to be...
How much relief do you have in your Leicester? Because I was playing mine today because I'm going to use my Leicester in the show.
To be fair, I haven't done much on the Leicester.
Yeah,
so.
but you don't. But it's perfect, right? So I want to see.
Well, that's almost dead flat. So there's me saying, whenever I talk about guitar setup, I'm talking about Strats. I don't know anything about Gibsons.
Yeah, that's a little bit straighter than mine. Mine's got a bit more of a...
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why I'm finding it could do with a bit more.
Such a great guitar.
It really is. Strings are a bit dead, but...
Man. That's
Yeah.
enough of that.
Yeah, actually, maybe that could do with a quarter. A little bit more. Oh, there is a little bit, actually. Yeah, there's enough.
Johnny managed to get a tiny little bit of relief in this neck.
Man, there is some learning going on there.
I love that you've got that.
You may have guessed that Rosanna is on the set list. We're hoping that Bobby Kimball turns up. I've been listening. So the only thing that goes is not the guitars. And the guitars go...
There's two guitar parts. One does that. The other one does go.
Yeah, but the only thing that goes
Yeah. I just did that.
is the bass.
Yeah.
And then
I'm just throwing that in for.
I've been playing.
None of that.
None of that.
Shenanigans. Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Because they were such high level studio musicians. All of that stuff. None of that's accidental.
Nope. It's an amazing bit
Yeah, it
of
really
arrangement.
is. It really is.
Anyway, we're doing Rosanna, which will be totally hilarious.
Okay, yes. Thank you, BV. For our patrons, there's a sneaky peek behind the scenes of Andy Timmons' pedal board that I'm building him for these gigs. And massive thank you to all of our Patreons for hanging out, joining us with this. We also do the VCQ as a podcast for Patreons as well. And every month we do a giveaway. There we go.
Where's my
I
phone?
get in trouble if I don't say something about stuff.
Dan, I'm going to read out. I'm going to read out Aaron Albusband's comment.
All right.
Oh, Keith is in the chat. Keith was in the chat earlier. Keith from 5 Up World.
Ah, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
Hello, mate.
Don't read out MJ Law's super chat because he's afraid it now might spoil a surprise for someone.
Oh, okay.
So
Right, fair
MJ
enough.
Law, when we get to MJ Law, don't read it out.
All right.
This is what I was going to do. Dan, could you proffer this photograph at the camera while I read out the next
Sure.
thing, please?
Would you like me to play some drums?
No, I'd just like you to show this photograph to the camera.
Okay. Best photograph in the world.
Aaron from Albus Band says, we're such fans of your music and all of your records. I'm not speaking of yours personally, but the whole genre of rock and roll. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, that's us and Michael McKean in London last week.
Need a haircut myself. I won't get too close, otherwise I might get mistaken for the band.
I'm
joking,
joking,
of course.
Michael McKean is David St. Hubbins from Spinal Tap, and we just bumped into him in the flipping street. How about that? Anyway, Aaron's actual question is, if you could have one band, dead or alive, to play a private show for you, who would it be?
XTC.
Oh, here's Rosie
Hello,
Poopins.
darling. Hello.
Here's
baby.
Rosie Poopins.
Hello, gorgeous. Hello,
Hello,
gorgeous. There's
Rosie.
Daddy. So the reason it would be XTC is because
Hello, Rose. What are you doing? Going round and round. She's like, well, I've got this bone and I don't really want to share that with you, so I'll just walk around and around. Oh, we got to do a bit of pup date. Rose,
hello, you.
There you- there
Hello,
she is.
you. Hello, beautiful girl. Hello, beautiful girl. Yeah, I missed you.
not interested in Daddy as usual. Rosie, should we do some camera? Shall we? Come on in. Come here. Come here. Good girl. Show the people your nice beef rib. Yeah. We'll show the people your nice beef rib, shall we?
There she is. Ah, she's such a good
That's in
girl.
my face. Go go. Okay, off you go.
Come
There
on
you
then.
go.
Yeah, so
Prissy.
Right, where's Mummy? Good girl.
XTC for me, because I've heard some of the live recordings that they did
Beef on my face.
before they broke up, and it was just extraordinary. And they're all still alive, and there's no way that it's going to happen. But it's one band that I would have dearly, dearly loved to have seen live.
XTC, yeah, that would have been so massive heroes of yours. I think mine would probably be. Oh, it's hard. I'm gonna throw up some alternatives and then we'll choose one.
Okay.
One is James Taylor and his band, which includes Landau on guitar, Steve Gadd on drums, Jimmy Johnson on bass, and Larry Goldings on keys, and then the two backing singers whose names evade me, and I apologise for that.
Brandon and
Bessie.
Julius.
Yeah, and I saw them in Birmingham once, and it's just among the most musical experiences I've ever had the pleasure to experience. So that would be one. And then, like, Shaka Khan
Wow, pulling out the big guns.
from about 85.
Are we allowed to pick? What era? What era? Okay.
84, something like that. You know, After I Feel For You's just come out, and where she's doing all the old funky stuff as well, would be pretty killer. I would rather enjoy that. And then I'd have to say, like, maybe Ray Charles or someone like that.
Right.
There's no one like Ray Charles. There's only Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Ray Charles with a band with horns in it. There you go.
Yeah. Very good.
So I'm going to say JT. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Like it.
Nice. Paul Matulovic. Hello,
Hey,
Paul. So there's one mystery in the Facebook group I recalled that must be solved. On the mugs and associated artwork, there appears to be an electro-harmonics pedal, but it has 6 knobs instead of 5. What is it? Shout after Stanislav, and I guess that's Stanislav Migra.
It's called the 6-knob-a-rooney.
Yeah.
Classic EHX 6-knob pedal.
What will it have been?
It would have been an added knob because we didn't want to
Get sued.
get sued.
Yeah, that probably is what it is. There you go.
It's called the 6-knob anti-litigious drive.
Yeah. The anti-litigian drive.
Anti-litigious drive.
Yeah.
There you go.
I can hear Mike's lawyers kind of firing up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's quick with that stuff.
There we go, Paul. That's what it is. Gents, says Barack Obimo. Hello, Barack Obimo. He says, I was disappointed that the answer for Friday's video wasn't overdrive, overdrive, and overdrive.
Well, those in the know. No.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
3 metal zones, right? Just kidding, he says. Much love.
Oh, thank you, mate.
Elliot Green. Hello again, Elliot.
Hi,
Thank
Elliot.
you for your generosity. He says, good evening. After my question on finding people to play with last week, I had someone contact me with the intention of organising a jam. So I just wanted to thank you for that. Love for the community you've created.
Oh, mate, that is the best news ever.
That's it. Doesn't get any better than that.
No, that's wonderful.
Nice one, Elliot. Well, I hope you managed to work that out. Super cool. Question from a beginner, says Reaper. Hello, Reaper.
Hey, Reaper, welcome.
I want to blend amps for my dry sound. How would I go about doing this? For example, a Marshall Studio Classic 20H and a Diesel VH Micro for my dry sound. What would someone need to look out for? Much love from Sweden. Much love to Sweden.
Okay. Sorry, I just saw this comment from Tim Lurch. He says, I saw Ray Charles with his touring band in San Francisco in 1976 and it changed my life.
Man.
Can you imagine?
Man.
Nice to see you, Tim. Great to have you in. Okay. So the 2 amp thing.
2 amps, yes. You need a splitter and you need to split the amps with bearing in mind 2 things. Dan, those 2 things are?
So, isolation and being able to correct for phase. Isolation, because when you connect 2 amplifiers and you're joining the earth at the inputs, and obviously they're going into like a ring mains and the earth's joined there, they create an earth loop, and that earth loop becomes like a big antenna and will just pick up noise. So isolation, having one of them isolated, stops that earth loop from happening. Now, I've been asked before, can't you just remove the earth going to one of those amplifiers? And unfortunately, no, because you need that reference. You'll need your AC signal is still going between your, the hot and the ground. So you need that reference. What the isolation does, you still have that reference, but it goes through a transformer, so you don't have that. There's no DC connection there. The phase thing is really interesting because if you can imagine, depending on the gain stages of the amplifier, so Mick's going to demonstrate. At the moment,
I think we should demonstrate together.
Okay. So if I'm an amplifier.
And I too am an amplifier. So I'm your diesel. He's your Marshall.
Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to play a chord, and as Mick's speaker goes forward, I'm going to go back, and then as Mick goes back, I'll go forward.
Because your speaker's always doing that, right? It's doing it a bit quicker than that, but it's doing it.
Yeah.
So forward, back, forward, back. This
So
is out of phase, right?
This is out of phase, and this is phase cancellation. Energy that is being produced by me pushing forward is being basically cancelled out by Mick going backwards. Now, what happens is, if I'm... So there's a 50-50 chance that the amps are going to be in phase. However, if I got a phase corrector device, and I can... Sorry, so now we're out of phase. So now I'm going to change the phase on Mick's amp, and bang. So Mick is now being phase corrected, and so we are both creating wonderful, wonderful
Now, the good
energy.
news after all that technical stuff is that any decent ABY pedal will do this for you.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of good ABY pedals. ABY. ABY means you can have amp A, amp B, or
A and
Y.
B.
Both of them together.
Yeah.
Radial make one. Forget what it's called.
Big Shot.
Big Shot ABY switcher.
Yep.
Lots of people make good ABY pedals, and the reason you need an ABY pedal rather than a splitter is to do those two things that he just said. One will be isolated output, so you won't get hum. The other, you'll be able to reverse the phase to make sure your 2 amps are in phase. The other way you can reverse the phase is swap the speaker terminals on your speaker. That's a whole other thing. Easier just not to get into that. And that's how you run 2 amps together. Yeah. And then where you put that in your signal chain with how you split it then determines what you can send to each one of those amps. And then you get into wet dry, which we talk about. But if you're just talking about your core amp sound, that's how you do it. You need a splitter. On one side has a phase flip option and isolated output. And
Peter Peroni says, how can you tell if you're out of phase? Your out of phase sound will be very thin.
Yeah, you can hear it.
You can, and then when you flip the phase, it's like all the life comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we do when we're doing it, if we've got 2 amps and we're not quite sure, play a low chord because it's the bottom end that goes away first.
Yep.
You know, play, I don't know, power chord on a G power chord or something, and you'll be able to hear. And if you can't hear, if you stick mics on each one and flip the phase on one of them, you'll hear it clear as day.
Yeah.
The problem you've got there is you don't know that your microphones are in phase.
Yeah, indeed.
So it's best just to use your ears. Sometimes if it's a very reverberant space, that can create issues because you're getting all the reflections of the room and it can be confusing.
Yeah.
But if you stand in 2 or 3 places, listen to A, listen to B, it should be pretty obvious.
Chris Turner says, I always think of Devo when you do the phase dance. I played my daughter Devo's version of Satisfaction on the way home from somewhere the other day. If you haven't heard this, go and check out. They did a live version on Saturday night. Devo playing Saturday Night Live, where they did a version of Satisfaction. It is one of the best things I've ever heard. It is absolutely remarkable. Have you heard it?
No.
Oh my goodness! I can't believe I haven't played that for you. I've let you down as a friend.
Is this Devo or Il Devo?
Devo.
What's the difference?
Il Devo, isn't that they're those classical or whatever they are? But Devo, whip it. You don't know Devo?
No.
Oh my, dude.
I just googled it, and the only thing that comes up is Il Devo.
No. Devo.
Oh, Devo. Rock band.
Yeah. You don't know Devo?
Literally never heard of them. Are they Australian?
Dude, okay, all right.
American rock band from Akron, Ohio.
They are amazing.
Literally never heard of them.
All right. I'm just going to put this on for 2 seconds, okay?
Whip it.
Just for 2 seconds.
If we get demonetised.
No. It's 2 seconds. You have to... I cannot believe you haven't seen this. All right. Right. Just check this out for 2 seconds. I don't want to do a survey. Thank you, no.
Dan's taking me back to school. Oh, there's one of those weird Les Pauls like the guy in that
Yeah.
trendy band played.
What's this?
L5CS.
It's the best.
Tell you what's interesting about that. I think I've heard enough
Oh
of
man, it's just fantastic. I
that.
love
You
it.
know how you get annoyed when anyone does Radiohead or Crowded House covers?
Right.
Yeah, that. We're doing High and Dry in the band, and when we start it, Dan's like got sad face on because he's like, we shouldn't be playing this. Aren't you a bit? Are you a bit?
No.
'Cause it's nice. It's nice.
I love that song.
Anyway, Devo, apologies for that. So the band I was talking about earlier that got signed.
Yes.
That
We're Devo.
no, did their video with yellow jumpsuits on.
Oh.
Just shows, doesn't it? Nothing's new.
No.
Nothing's new. Well, with apologies to Devo. Then.
Sorry, I had to play. It's just the best thing. It's wonderful. Really wonderful.
Yeah, Nan Rivera. I really, really don't know who Devo are. Honestly, I promise you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, I could probably name about 20 singer-songwriters you've never heard of. But
Yeah. That's Devo.
to be fair, they didn't have a hit with a cover of a Rolling Stones song, or indeed Whip It.
Yeah. I've always really liked their stuff.
You've liked them so much.
Beaver Ninja's going, no, Dan.
You like them so much, you've never mentioned them once.
I just didn't think they needed mentioning. I thought it was a given.
Oliver Boyson says, remember when Mick said he was only interested in a small percentage of music? Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Okay.
Not knowing Devo is not knowing Oingo Boingo. As Brett Lazo. I do know Oingo Boingo, if that helps. Yeah.
Okay. I'll edit that bit out once we finish this.
Yes, good luck with that Reaper. Right, Feed My Bongos. Feed My Bongos, who was actually in Devo, he says, cheers for all you do. With a headphone setup, guitar, pedals, UAFX Dream, UA Volt 276 headphones, how would you suggest setting levels? This is a really good point. Because you've got, what you're saying there is you've got three areas of gain stacking. You've got the volume on your pedals, you've got the volume on the Dream, and you've got the input level on the audio interface.
Yes. See, there's a couple of things that come into play here. One is how isolated you are with the sort of headphones that you're using. Like, for example, I practice most days with my Waza Air headphones on, and I come straight to the pedal board into the receiver out. It's wicked. But you do need to be careful. You don't set it up the same way as you do when you're going to the amplifier.
No. I did that earlier. I was setting up some presets on my pedals, and I was like, wow, this sounds awful. Turned it up. Happy days.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So what I would do is do the interface last. So the interface, being an interface, has got the biggest level of gain potential on the input. Not least that you'll be able to pad it as well if it's too much. So for example, when we mic our amps, we've always got minus 20 dB on the first gain stage, because you're hitting it with insane volume at that far away from the microphone. So similarly, if it was really quiet, we talked earlier about miking up a really quiet amp, you can boost the gain at the mic input stage. So do that last. Get the interaction. So the interaction of your pedals and your UAFX Dream is going to be broadly similar to using a regular guitar amp. And that's just a gain stacking lesson. How much gain do you want from the pedals? How much do you want from the UAFX? Get a sound that's there or thereabouts, and just set the input gain on the volt to the that little happy place just before it goes red.
Yeah.
Bit more difficult with digital. If you've got an analog pre, you can push into that red, and that's quite nice.
Yeah.
But with digital, you really, really need to avoid that red because you get
near it. Yeah.
and it's, to me, that's when I say I don't like digital guitar amps and I don't like digital preamps and I don't like digital stuff. That's what I mean. I can always hear I can always hear it. And so the headroom available, it just seems to be so markedly less than it is in analog gear, or at least analog gear goes into a nice overdrivey, harmonically rich place where digital just goes, nah, not interested.
Yeah.
And what that means is when you record digitally, you tend to need to record pretty low so that you can then make up the gain afterwards. Because if you hit the front end of that interface too much, it's like city. And I don't like the...
Yeah, I hear you.
And I hear that with mid-gain overdrive tones more than anything else.
Yeah.
On high-gain overdrive tones, it can actually be a bit of a benefit because you're getting a bit of...
Yeah. And
which is what you need.
Yeah,
from a high...
and that can actually cut as well.
I actually think that's why high-gain overdrive tones are so popular in the digital world.
Yeah, because it works.
Hello,
yeah.
Rabbit Hole. I've missed you.
Oh, very good.
Yes. So good luck. Ian Fan, when using the Zoom H6, how do you avoid background hiss with the onboard mics? It's awful.
Oh, I've never had that.
Yeah.
No, we've both got one. We both use it quite a lot. But just by
mine's
making
not
sure
too
the
bad at
gain,
all.
because you've got the meters on there and you can see how much gain you're hitting. If you're not recording with enough input gain and then you try and amplify that, then you might get noise.
Yeah.
As long as you've got enough gain on that, you shouldn't be... It's certainly not an issue for anything that I've done. It sounds great.
So you're talking about the onboard mics,
The XY.
presumably the XY on top. So if you're trying to record something very quiet and you've got it cranked up to 9 or 10, then you probably will be hearing some hiss.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I regularly use ours at 6, 7 and I don't notice any hiss that I'm really worried about.
No.
Might be worth a quick question to Zoom.
Yeah.
Make sure you haven't got some sort of... I think it's got a compressor limiter built into it.
Yeah, it's got clever stuff in there.
So check that that's not turned on, because if the compressor limiter is turned on and the threshold is set in a way, it will boost all that hiss.
Right.
So just check that that something isn't turned on in the machine that shouldn't be. The other possibility is that if you're not using the other channels and you've got them all turned up, there could be some hiss coming from those as well. So if you're not using the other channels, make sure they're turned down. I mean, you probably haven't got the tracks armed for recording, so you shouldn't hear them, but it's just another thing to check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Legends, says Sergio Martinez.
Oh, hello, Sergio.
No question, just a thanks for helping this late pedal bloomer get into thinking differently about his sound. If you could pass some of that on to me, I'd be very grateful.
That's wonderful, mate. That's... Yeah, we were having a conversation about this before. What the challenge is, the most common thing is just that we get, tell me what's the best.
Yeah.
Tell me what to buy.
I think that's why Friday's video went down like a lead balloon.
Yep.
Because we just said, use your brain, and everyone went,
yeah. And so the challenge is encouraging people to actually find out the stuff for themselves. Because for me, as soon as you see a video that says the best something ever made, the warning lights go off for me.
Yeah.
It's like none of my favourite guitar players played with the best thing ever made. None of my favourite sounds were created with the best thing ever made. It was what was there, and they made it work for them, and subsequently it was epic. You know what I mean? The Big Muff, when David Gilmour got hold of it, was not the best thing ever made. But boy, oh boy, did he make it sound epic. But if you've got some... if what we've done is help you think about it differently and ask some better questions, then job done. We are delighted.
Yeah. Yes. I think so. What was the question? Oh, yes. Late pedal bloomer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy days.
It's happening to think about his pedals.
Happy
Wonderful.
days.
Wonderful.
John Fremer or Freemer. John Freemer. Sorry, John. John Freeman wants to know, what was your hardest gained lesson in music?
That's a great question. Okay. When I was growing up, I wasn't around a lot of guitar music. I was always singing. There's always singing stuff going on, but I didn't have a dad that was into Zeppelin. There was no rock music in the house. And as a matter of fact, it was strictly forbidden. And I remember I would learn just on my own, just from, figuring stuff out. And I remember getting to a point where I auditioned for the Conservatoire of Music in Australia and got in. And I thought, hey, I'm pretty good. I thought everyone wants to get into this course, and I got in. I must be pretty good. And I remember there's a guy younger than me, devilishly handsome, a kid called Paul Seiler, and I heard him play guitar, and I remember not being able to comprehend how he was doing what he was doing, and it was like, wow. So the lesson for me was there's always people that are going to be better. It's not a competition. Just do your thing, But that was hard to learn. I didn't have the internet. I wasn't constantly bombarded by these people who were amazing. You know what I mean? So
well, it changes your vista, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because this is the world you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. And you turn around and do a 360, and this world that you knew is not the world you knew at all.
Yeah.
It's a completely different world.
I can still remember one of the things that he did. So he would be playing, right? He'd start a melody, he'd go, he'd start this, and then just randomly he'd put another melody on top. And all these intervals coming out of everywhere, and then he'd start playing melody, and I was like, what? It was just unreal.
Nice.
Unreal.
Hardest gain lesson in music.
Paul Jolster says comparison is the thief of joy. Absolutely.
Probably a full circle thing for me, and I'm not sure where I am on it now. So starting to play young in bands. The thought process from those people that were leading us at the time were, there's no point playing the music you want to play because nobody wants to hear it. You need to play what people want to hear, which is, wedding band and bar band mentality, and it is true.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do a bar band gig or a wedding gig, then you need to play what people want to hear.
If you're getting paid for it, you're getting paid to do a job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and so it took me a long time to work out that music could have any value beyond entertaining people in that way.
Sure.
Because those were all the gigs I did young. And then realising that artistry does have some value, actually. The two aren't mutually exclusive, by the way. There's plenty of artistry and great pop songs that people want to hear. But in terms of what you want to do, rather than repeating Summit Parrot fashion and, doing a great cover of it, which is what we're going to be doing this week with the TPS band, that's one thing, and it's fun and it's brilliant and it's great. And I sort of parked the artistry thing right there.
Right.
And said, this is not for me and it has no value. The stuff that I enjoy doing more than anything, and the thing I get most pleasure from musically, is not very appealing in a
commercial sense.
Well, I don't even think commercial's the right word, because I've certainly never earned enough money from playing music to
Fair enough.
it be anything other than putting diesel in the car and
Sure.
buying a few guitars here and there. It's never been a job in that way. So I think for me, but then realizing that the thing I actually was interested in was the artistry side of it, and doing something that you felt in your core, and trying to marry those two things, which is, it's a cul-de-sac.
Sure.
And it's not like the tortured artist on stage at a wedding going, why won't you listen to my sad song? You know, it's not that. It's finding the path to do something that fills you up artistically and musically, so you don't want to drive off a bridge every time you come back from the wedding gig because you've hated it so much.
Jeff Roke says, so you're saying my Cradle of Filth tribute wasn't the right choice for an 80th birthday gig?
Depends whose 80th birthday it was. Danny Filth used to phone me up, for what it's worth, when I was editor of Metal Hammer.
Fantastic.
Those were funny days. Anyway, so yeah, and that's the thing that I find continually difficult, is to find the place. The hardest learned lesson, which I haven't learned, is where that exists.
For you.
Yeah, how do you feel creatively and musically inspired? Because I don't do it for the money.
Yeah, of course.
You know, quite often the comments in TPS are like, oh, what do you need all that gear for? The audience don't care anyway. And, oh, there's no point carrying that amp upstairs. The audience don't care. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that gig then.
Yeah.
And it's not... I know plenty of people do those gigs.
That's such an interesting comment. I mean, it's been...
But I can't be asked with that.
Yeah. No, it's been made tonight already. It's like the people... the people at the back of the venue that won't know any difference. It's like, it's not about the people at the back of the venue.
No, it's me stood on stage.
Yeah, and if I'm enjoying it, I promise you that people at the back of the venue are going to have a better time than if I'm stood on stage going through the numbers. Yeah. I'm not the guy that can pick up any guitar and sound great. It's just not me. I've got to have things dialed in. And if things are dialed in, I can actually do something... play beyond my, it can say something. Yeah. But if it's not dialed in, I sound like a turd burger. Yeah. I really do. But if I'm dialed in, then I'm going to have a great time, and everyone else is going to have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the lesson might be, if you want to make people happy in a musical context, for me the lesson is, if you want to make people happy in a musical context, probably nobody really wants to hear you playing the guitar, because there's loads of people out there who can play the guitar really well. What they want to hear is a connected performance of a group of musicians who are connected through music, and they make the audience feel something. Now that might manifest in a guitar solo, or it might manifest in really good guitar playing, but all that stuff I spent ages trying to be great at. Not very many people really care about that.
But do you care about it?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
What I care about more is that the 3-part vocal harmony
totally
is on point.
Yeah.
I care that the tempos aren't rushed.
Yeah.
I care that everyone in the band plays with respect for one another. But of course, what happens then? COVID happens, no gigs. So you get forced back on your stool and you start worrying about your hemi-demi semiquavers again.
Right.
And I'm too old for that. Even having said that, I've just started having guitar lessons again. But so I think it's that. I think the lesson is how to balance enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's boil it down. How to balance enjoying it with that desire to have to do it. Because when you get in this far, and some of you will relate to this, there's no option not to do it. You can't not do it.
Sure.
That would be, that's unthinkable. So how do you do it and enjoy it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's the lesson that I haven't learned yet.
Very good. Iodine74 says, talking about Powderfinger, an Australian band, and he says, I'm amazed I've never heard Dan mention anything about them, being that they're Aussies. In actual fact, Battle of the Bands 1988, we went up against Powderfinger and beat them.
Did you?
Yeah, we did.
Awesome.
But I think one of those guys stole my chord tuner. However, man alive, I think they were like a metal band back then, but they are one of my favourite Australian bands, have written some absolutely remarkable songs. And I was in a conversation with the guitar player years ago about, he wanted me to looking at some gear. They're truly wonderful, wonderful band.
Powder
But still,
Finger.
1988. Battle of the Bands. He remembered that, actually. I'm like, you probably won't remember this. He's like, yeah, actually, I do remember that.
Have you still got my tuner, is what you should have said to me. Cosmic KJ says, it is possible to derive satisfaction from playing mundane gigs. Do it well, be in the moment. Yeah,
very
100%
good.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. You can indeed, I mean, any situation, anywhere, you can improve on tolerable for sure.
Definitely.
I guess my cut-off point is where it's silent, I'm on in-ears, there's one of those stupid sound cancelling dance floor things where you can't hear the I'm like, nah, there's no enjoyment. There's literally zero enjoyment in that. I can't enjoy that. The only way I could enjoy that is to disrupt it.
Indeed.
Is to be completely drunk, fall on the floor and be sick on the bridesmaids. That would be the only enjoyment I can get out of that.
Jason Carter says, did Dan ever cross paths with Guy Pratt in the 80s in Australia when he was in Icehouse? No, but I do. So the drummer from Icehouse, Paul Wheeler, is one of my closest friends. I was in a band called The Wheelers for years with Paul.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was the drummer in Max Sharam. When I joined Max Sharam, that's how we met. And he's still one of my closest friends. He's so funny. So he got me into XTC, right? And the day I did that gig with... when Tin Spirit started and started playing with Dave Gregory, and he would just call me up out of the blue and go, you didn't know anything about them, and I introduced them to you. He's absolutely hilarious.
Hawk Moon 269 wants to know, is there a pedal for a disruption? Yeah, it's a fuzz and maybe a ring modulator.
That'll do it every time.
That's for you, Granny. What's your experience? Wants to know William Almond wants to know, what's your experience running wet dry with 16 and 18 ohm speakers?
Depends on the amp. Depends on how the amp is designed. Let me think.
There are bigger differences elsewhere.
Yeah, totally. If the amp sounds great at 16 ohms and 8 ohms, you won't have an issue.
Yeah. And the amps already, depending on what amps you're using, they're already going to be quite different anyway. So that difference is going to be a small difference in comparison to the bigger differences of the amps. Now, if what you're saying is you've got two amps exactly the same, one running a 16 and one running an 8 ohm, then you may well notice some slight differences in the frequency response and the dynamics of the amp if you've got them cranked. Below that, I think it's going to be a minimal difference, isn't it?
Yeah, the 16 ohm amp, if two of the same amps, the amp that's driving the 16 ohm speaker is going to be working harder than the 8 ohm speaker, using more of the transformer, and it's going to react differently.
Yeah.
But it will still sound flippin' great. We love mismatched speakers, mismatched amplifiers for the wet dry thing.
Yeah.
It can work brilliantly.
It's a big part of the appeal of it, isn't
yeah.
it? Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher, very good.
I have a difficult time. He might actually be called Jack Reacher, of course. Just jumping out of the helicopter. He says, I have a difficult time getting my Red Dot Sunface to give me a usable volume with my Les Paul. It sounds amazing with P90s and Strats and Tellies. Any tips?
Yeah, volume control on your Les Paul. Don't have the Les Paul all the way up. Back it off a bit. You are...
Don't go near the neck pickup.
Yeah, the thing is, so it's all about impedances, those germanium style fuzz pedals. And they do, single coils, they just generally, they work so well. However, certain fuzz pedals can sound fantastic with humbuckers and Les Pauls. Look at what Joe Bonamassa does with his fuzz. They're great. But one of the things I find is having the volume all the way up on a Les Paul. I've never found a good fuzz sound out of it, but just backing it off a little bit makes a world of difference.
Yeah. Don't know where you've got your volume control currently on the fuzz. If you've got it fairly all the way round, then there's not much you can do. There's quite a lot of headroom in the end quarter of that volume control.
Yeah.
So you might find there's a bit more there. Turn the fuzz down, turn the volume up, which of course then might put it out of whack for your strats. If you've got the bias control, maybe bias it a bit colder. So starve it a bit so it's a little bit more spitty. That may get you a bit more audibility, if not volume as such.
Everyone is acknowledging.
Excuse me?
Everyone is acknowledging the impy dads. Oh, fantastic.
We're a right pair.
We are. We are. Oh, why aren't we getting big views? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. Michael Gilberto, he says, oh man, the impy dance.
That will go down in the annals of history.
Yes. Peter Peroni, BV has already answered this. Will that pedal shop ever stock merch? Not in the foreseeable future. We just can't make enough cash on it to make it worthwhile. And if that sounds a bit breadheady, it's because of all the money we get into TPS, the merch is by far the biggest amount, and that's what keeps us going. Like
without it, we couldn't do the show.
Yeah. If YouTube ad revenue stopped tomorrow, that wouldn't hurt too much because it's not very much money. If the store stopped tomorrow, we'd be off the air. That'd be it. We'd be done. So unlike a lot of bigger YouTubers, once you get into the millions of views and millions of subscribers, then the ad money becomes really significant. But at our level, it's really not. So we need the store to keep us going. And if we put another chain that needs margin out of those bits and bobs, we just don't make enough money and we're off the air. So,
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So that's why. And we should also say thank you to our patrons at this point who help greatly. But as always with these things, it's like dribbles of money from here and there all add up to enough to make it happen.
Yeah.
But the store is by far the biggest. So, yeah. Bless you, Michael, says Tony London. I think you followed through. I'm not quite there yet, Tony. I know that, as time goes on, sneezing can be trouser worrying, but I'm not quite there yet. Gents, says Brent Passmore. I picked up an automaton.
Nice.
Hudson Broadcast and Union Swindle the other day.
Wow.
Union Tube and Transistor Swindle for the price of a new automaton. Very nice. I've yet to check out the Broadcast and Swindle because self-moving faders.
I know.
Yeah, isn't it great?
It's just fantastic.
Isn't it great? I'm interested to see. So for those of you who don't know, the automaton is a pedal by Chase Bliss, a platform by Chase Bliss, which has 5 faders that move and you can program presets and stuff. Dan and I are both absolutely in love with the Reverb. It's on my board for the gigs coming up, so I am interested to see if either I or someone else can spill a pint into it. There it is, the automaton. And the sliders move by themselves, which is truly amazing. You'll love the Broadcast, Brent. It's a really groovy thing. And the Union Swindle sounds interesting. Never actually heard one, but they bill it as something that if overdrive isn't enough and fuzz is too much, you'll like the Swindle.
Oh, cool.
And I do wonder if it's maybe after the Great Rock and Roll Swindle.
Have you watched that yet?
Not the new one. What's the original one?
Right, no. So Pistols, the
Yeah.
show. Flippin' amazing.
But there was a film called The Great Rock
Yes,
and
yes, of
Roll.
course. And the show ends up at that point.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Gabor Matter, or even Gabor Matter, he says, hey DNM, I recently bought my first valve amp. It's an orange Rocker 15 Terra
Nice.
with 212 Celestine K100s. I'm having wonderful times with it. You should check it out too. Keep on inspiring us, and thank you guys. Nice.
We've got the what's the small lunchbox one that we've got?
We got the Tiny Terra.
The Tiny Terra.
The Rocker Terra is presumably slightly different.
Right.
Yeah, I bet that sounds amazing on the
Yeah.
212.
Awesome.
Happy days.
Awesome.
Airfire.
Hey, buddy.
Ed, he says, I'm offering roadie services for Sunday if needed. Ed, thank you kindly. I think we're covered.
We're covered.
I think.
But thank you, mate. That's very kind.
That's very kind of you. We look forward to seeing you there. Michael Lockyer. Hey guys, any thoughts on the Vertex SS Clean Drive? Sounds nice through my deluxe reverb, but after opening it up, seems to be just a clean boost and mid EQ tweak. An EQ pedal might do the same thing.
Yeah, I do know a lot of people love them. Yeah, I don't know the circuit.
Depends how it does the clean boost. So your question is, maybe an EQ pedal can do the same thing. How you do the boost is significant to how it sounds and feels. So whether it uses a FET or some other kind of transistor or however it does it, will have a significant effect on the tone and feel of the pedal. So the EQ that you're talking about may do it differently, and therefore it will be different.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of great pedals out there that are essentially a bit of boost and a bit of EQ.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't look down on it for that reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Interestingly enough, Chris, who came up at the weekend, brought his J Rocket Lenny,
Oh, yeah.
and I am instantly a fan. I'm going to buy one. It's
Yeah.
absolutely banging into the clon.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
Nice.
J Rocket Lenny, for those of you who've got one. I hadn't played one through my rig before, and I got to play one at the weekend. So if it sounds nice, Michael, I wouldn't question it.
Yeah, indeed. Lovely.
Keep it sounding nice.
Lovely.
Benjamin Hooper. Hello, Benjamin. G'day, fellas. Is it normal to perceive some frequency loss with a harmonic trem? My new Dandelion seems to take the bite out of my Gretsch, but my old Gravitas didn't. Any thoughts? See you Thursday in Froome.
They're all different. One of the reasons that we did the harmonic tremolo that we did with the guys at Jam is because there were some things that we perceived in various harmonic trems that we loved, and some things we didn't. There's EQ inside the harmonious monk, and because we found that being able to add those mids back in was a really huge thing, to keep it present in the mix, so it didn't just sound like a woolly. That sound can be cool too, but yeah, we were adamant that we needed to have the mids in there, and sort of very present.
Yeah. So with EQ, it's always interesting to know that if the perception is a loss in bite, does that mean you've got more bass and low mid?
Yeah, right.
Or does it mean the bass and low mid are the same, but you've actually lost the bite? One thing I found with all my harmonic trems is I would prefer them if they were all less bassy.
Sure.
Which is why we put the tone pots in the harmonious monk. The Supro one, which I used before the harmonious monk, kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of took away that bite.
Yeah.
Almost more like a univibe than a harmonic trem.
Yeah.
So just check that it's not boosting the level, but boosting the bottom end a bit more. And it might be that you can affect that a bit. I don't know if there's any internal trim pots on the Dandelion.
Todd Roy says, Mick and Dan, I saw an awesome Jam Pedals YouTube commercial. They were showing how the harmonious monk is manufactured and everything. Pretty cool. I saw the same thing today. It's a great ad.
Nice.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, we included a bit of that footage in when we did the launch video for it. And it is always awe-inspiring to see the way they do things.
Just done right.
You know, you can put whatever value judgment on it you want, but Dan and I are fans of that very artistic approach to through-hole handmade stuff.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
Yeah.
You know, not that amazingly made surface mount machine production isn't also an art form, but we both happen to love that hands-on, and they hand paint all the enclosures and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's artistry.
And in every level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's great to see. Yeah, so Be interested to know what the difference between the Gravitas and the Dandelion is in that respect, in what latitude you have on the Gravitas for changing things like tone.
Sure.
I'm not familiar enough to know the answer to that, but yeah. What else could it be? Could be overdriving. You could be hitting it too hard. Some analog modulations are fussy about placement, because if you hit them too hard with overdrive pedals, they start to mush out.
Yep.
So maybe try
That's a really good shout, actually.
before and after overdrive. Yeah. Hope that helps, Benjamin. Hope there's some things to think about there. Chris Warburton, thank you, Chris, for the super chat. We hope you're doing all right. We know you have been under the weather just recently, so much love from us, Chris. Hope you're doing okay. Jack's back on to say, the previous thing about not getting enough volume out of his Les Paul and Sunface. He's running into a Benson Chimera Reverb combo. Shouldn't make too much difference. Congrats on the Benson, by the way. What an amazing thing. If your Strat and P90s are great and the Les Paul isn't, then we can say that the amp's not affecting that too much, other than if the Les Paul is just pushing the amp into a bit more overdrive.
Sure.
And what you might then be getting is just a bit of limiting.
Yeah.
So it just it's too much.
Scott Gallagher brings up a good point. It says the Chase Plus audio works better with 18 volts. So
that's interesting.
You might be able to increase the headroom inside the pedal by giving it some more voltage. Whenever you do this, double check and then double check again that the pedal can take a higher voltage. It should say on the pedal 9 to 18 volts. And if that's the case, then giving it more voltage will give it more headroom, which may then in turn give you longer before clipping.
Yeah.
So one thing to check as well. Good shout, Scott.
But I'll just reiterate what he said.
Double check.
Check, and check again that the pedal can take more than 9 volts, because proportionally not very many can.
Exactly.
How's the 12-string going, Mick? Says Josh Bannister. I recently grabbed the Dan Electro 12, the one with the coil tap, and I'm loving it. Such a different tool in my collection.
Nice.
Using it for one song, actually, this week.
Sounds flippin' magic.
It sounds insane.
Yeah, it really does.
I haven't bothered to even think about like the EQ of it or anything. I've just plugged it in, turned all the pedals on. I'm like, I'm not going to change that.
Unreal.
It's not quite the right sound, but it's an okay sound.
Really. It's awesome.
So good on you, Josh. I hope you're enjoying that as much as I am. Finally, then, to G Barge.
Hey, G.
Nice to hear from you. You were always all over the place. I think you were in New York, and then you were in San Francisco, and then you were
round.
Somewhere
he
else.
gets around.
Yeah, maybe you're that guy in that film where he collects all the air miles. George Clooney.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says distant relations. I saw a great show at the Greek in Berkeley on Saturday night.
Lovely.
There were 4 magnetones on stage. Wonderful show. Made me think of you guys. Happy gigging.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, mate.
Thank you. And thanks for your generosity.
Yeah.
Thanks to everyone's generosity with the super chat. As we said, it helps and it's extremely useful. So thank you.
Indeed.
Okay, that be us.
Sort of on time.
It's off to the gentle panic of pre-gig.
Hurrah.
Cobblers.
Let's do Devo's version of Satisfaction. You love it.
Excuse me while I just go and get my yellow jumpsuit. We'll see you Friday for the next 3 pedals. And for those of you maybe in this chat, it's too simplistic. So with apologies for that. We'll get back to much nerdier stuff the following week when we go through the 4 strats. The 2 gold ones, blue, and the 61.
Stratastic. Stratospheric.
Stratulous. Strat's the way to do it.
Very good.
Stratic at the disco.
Very good.
Yeah. I don't know. Strat pedal show. Right. I've never played that many chords in a single song ever before. Until next week, lovers.
Fare thee well.
There we go, and we're demonetized.